Hello again, my friends, fellow Star Trek fans. I'd like to welcome you to another video. This video is going to be about my favorite subject, Star Trek. I hope you enjoy all the Star Trek related videos that I do for you guys. I hope you enjoy watching them as much as I enjoy making them. I've got a really interesting episode today. Now, I've done different videos on model kits, their production, pioneering versions, things of that nature, the history of. What I want to do today is we're going to look at the model kits that were actually inspired by the episodes of Star Trek. So this is going to be really fun. So sit back, relax, get a cup of Romulan ale, or if you're hungry, get some gok, and enjoy the video. Okay, so when it comes to the episodes of Star Trek, let's start way at the beginning. This is season 1, and we're going to go back to what I think was the 3rd episode, and that is Balance of Terror. So what I want to show you, let me get the model for you. See, I got a bunch of them over here, so let me... All right. The Romulan ship. This is the giant bird of prey, and this is from 1975. Now, there was no long box version of this kit. This had come out in 1975, once they started to kind of retool the boxes and make them more of a vertical box as opposed to the horizontal. And you can see the picture of the Romulan, the bird of prey, and we're introduced to Sarek. But at the time, we're introduced to Mark Lenard. He was the Romulan commander, and he ultimately became Sarek. He was in also Star Trek the Motion Picture as the Klingon commander. So he played a Vulcan, he played a Romulan, and he played a Klingon. And he was also in Star Trek The Next Generation to reprise his role as Sarek. So this model kit, I don't know if necessarily inspired by that episode, but that's the episode where we're first introduced to the Romulans. And you can see the beautiful eagle or creature from Romulus, the bird of prey. And you can see the Enterprise. And you can see a couple of other Romulan ships. So Balance of Terror is the first one that we see, the first time we actually see this. And it's an interesting story about this model that they used to film. Shortly after the filming of this episode, the model simply disappeared. So they don't know what happened to it. So that's why they had to switch over to the Klingon D7 battle cruiser in the Enterprise incident where they had the Romulan ships. Just a little interesting side note. You can see the front of the box, that classic AMT, Star Trek. You got the Enterprise going by on the top. We've got the Romulan bird of prey. You got the illustration on the box. And looking at the side, we've got that wonderful special jacket offer. And you can see the Romulan bird of prey. The display stand is included in this one. It kind of folds. The Romulans in their warbird. The Romulan ship painted like a giant bird of prey was introduced to Star Trek viewers on the Balance of Terror episode during the series' first season. The Romulans, an offshoot of the Vulcan race, were allied with the ruthless Klingons against the United Federation of Planets. Championed by Captain Kirk's USS Enterprise, and after inconclusive war between the bad guys and the Star Empire and the Federation's good guys, a peace treaty was negotiated, and a neutral zone would be established between the two combatants. The treaty remained in effect except for one major incident depicted in Balance of Terror. The Romulan ship was armed with plasma energy weapons which rendered all defenses useless. Its effectiveness was limited only by its relatively short range, and the ship was capable of becoming invisible by the means of the cloaking device, which was subsequently captured. You can see AMT Corporation. And this particular kit was S957. Again, this is the first issue of this ship. There was no long box version. These exciting AMT, Star Trek, and other space kits are available at your hobby center. And I love looking at these pictures. I've got the long box of the shuttlecraft I've shown you guys. I don't have the Mr. Spock. I've shown you the original D7 battle cruiser. As a matter of fact, we're doing a build on that ship. I've shown you the long box release for the exploration set, and of course we've done extensive videos on the S951, the Enterprise model kits, and the interplanetary UFO. I don't know a lot about that model. Maybe that'd be an interesting video in the future. At the ends of the box, you can see it's the S951. It shows you the special features with the arrow, and you go over to the other side and you can see the special features. And there's nothing on the back. So this is from Balance of Terror, where we're introduced to Mark Leonard. The next episode, speaking with that, we should just follow it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Enterprise incident. Now, I showed you the Romulan bird of prey, but what ended up happening was that model disappeared. I don't think to this day they found it. So what do they do when they have a relatively low budget to work with? They take one of the ships they already have, which is the Klingon D7, and the D7 wasn't introduced in the series until the 3rd season, and they change it to make it look like a Romulan bird of prey. But that's the reason why they use the Klingon D7 design for the ships, for the Romulans, because somebody stole the model. Well, I shouldn't say that. The model disappeared. And this one is from Polar Lights. This is the Romulan Battle Cruiser 1/1000 scale plastic kit. And you can see a nice illustration of the Klingon ship, Romulan ship. You can see the side of the box. It's got another illustration. I apologize for the glare. And let's see, this is kit POL 897-12. It's same on both sides of the box, and pretty much same on both ends of the box. And we look at the back, you can see that nice shot, just like we saw in Star Trek, the episode, The Enterprise Incident. Of course, with the digital effects that they have now, where they took out the filming models, they show the Romulan bird of prey. But with the filming models, they were D7s. This model measures 9.5 inches long, and it has the display base. Incidental contact could not be asserted when the USS Enterprise NCC 1701 crossed over into the disputed neutral zone by the command of her legendary captain James T. Kirk. The classic episode of the original series, The Enterprise Incident, the crew of the Enterprise quickly found their valiant starship surrounded by Romulan battle cruisers. Kirk's seemingly irrational behavior would eventually be revealed to be a grand scheme to gain the secret cloaking technology of their arch foes. The event earned yet another masterfully played victory for Captain Kirk. This model brings the Romulan battle cruiser to life in miniature form at 1/1000 scale, and it snaps together to build a 9.5-inch long ship. Comes supplied with water slide decals along with optional Romulan and Klingon markings, comprised of over 30 plastic parts. The kit also comes with a dome display base with a wire support that allows the model to be displayed at a variety of angles. You can see the base. So this is from Polar Lights, and this is the 1/1000 scale from the Enterprise Incident. We're going to stay with the Enterprise Incident because we have more. This one is from AMT. Need a little more room for this one. And this is the Enterprise Incident fiber optic model kit. Now, a while ago, when I had started this channel, I had done a build on this model kit because I looked for videos on this kit. I really couldn't find any. And then when I made the model, I kind of figured out why. Because this isn't the easiest model to put together. And I did my version, and it came out pretty horrible. So what I wanted to do was I kind of wanted to, well, I wanted to do a better job, to be honest. And I think that I've honed my modeling skills to the point now where I can actually tackle this model and it'll come out looking better. So we'll be doing this model kit sometime in the future, and I want to do a better job when it comes to the painting and the wiring and the addition of the fiber optics. You can see in this model kit, the illustration, the D7s still have the Klingon logos on it. And if you notice, they do not have the eagle or the bird of prey. And they don't have the decals for that either. So these are just what they look like, Klingon D7s, even with the markings. But these are really the Romulan ships from the episode. It also has a sound chip where you can listen to it, and there is soldering in this kit, as well as lights that light the ships. There's fiber optic strands that come out, and what it is the bulb lights the end of the fiber optic strand. The strands are placed outside the windows, they're glued, and then they're cut flush. And that's how the lights are visible. So if I could turn this around without hitting the Enterprise, you can see some pictures on the side of the finished model kit. And again, I really didn't find a whole lot on YouTube with this model kit. If you do a search, you'll see my terrible version of my build, but I want to redo the whole thing. So that's this side of the box. Let's see if I can show you the end without bumping the model of the Enterprise, because the box is pretty large. So this is, let's see if I can find this is 8254 for the model number. And the other side of the box is the basic highly detailed model. Includes 2 Klingon battle cruisers and 1 Enterprise, a display base with background, fiber optics, and authentic sound chip. You can see the Enterprise Incident, legendary space encounter, fiber optics, digital sound chip, and display base. And there's, again, the illustration on the front of the box. So again, this is from the Enterprise Incident. So this one is AMT, and they had the Polar Lights one. Let's see, what else do we got here? When it comes to the episodes, okay, let's go to the Galileo 7. Now, the episode, the Galileo 7, let me clarify something to you guys. The space shuttle, the shuttlecraft is the designation NCC 17017. So the model kit is the Galileo number 7. But the episode was titled the Galileo 7, S-E-V-E-N. And that was Mr. Spock's first command. Now, I did a video on the history of the actual shuttlecraft. It was built by AMT Models, the AMT Corporation, and they built this. It was just about a full-size filming model, so they could get the rights to the vehicles and the everything in Star Trek for the modeling rights. And that was Mr. Spock's first command. There was 7 people that was aboard the shuttlecraft, hence the Galileo 7. Now, I don't know if this model was specifically inspired by the episode, but it would make sense because that was the first episode where we saw the shuttlecraft. And let's see, seeing the side of the box, you can see they got the inside. I love how they do the inside. Polar Lights recently released on the Galileo 7 in a larger scale, but sadly there's no inside. There's nothing for the interior, and I'm hoping that they do an upgrade set so we can actually do the inside. This one has the removable upper fuselage to show the cabin detail. The assembled model measures 7.5 inches long. You can see the beautiful shot, and you can see the interior. You can see below, enlarged view of the USS Enterprise hangar deck. Galileo shuttlecraft is 22 feet long and measures 22 feet long, 6.6 meters. That's how it looks in the hangar bay. On the TV Star Trek series, Galileo 7 is carried in the USS Enterprise hangar deck as shown in the diagram above. The Enterprise is not included. You can see the area where it's stored. All right, this is kit number S959, and again, this is the original issue. You can see the special features that go on the other side. And the other side of the box, we can see the other model kits, the other long box models, the exploration set I've shown you, the Enterprise I've shown you. I don't have the Mr. Spock. And again, we're doing the D7 battle cruiser now. We're doing the build. And that wonderful Star Trek jacket offer. So this one, from the Galileo 7, SEVEN. Okay, next episode is one of the more famous episodes. We're going to look at the model kit from Space Seed. And of course, that went on to inspire Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. This one is from Polar Lights. And this is in the 1/1000 scale. The USS Enterprise includes a new model, the SS Botany Bay. Of course, the Enterprise finds the Botany Bay drifting in space, and when they actually board, they see the crew members that are in a stasis, and they revive them, and that's Khan. Khan is a criminal from the past, and he attempts to take the Enterprise, but ultimately he's captured, and he ends up on Ceti Alpha 5. So this is the 1/1000 scale, USS Enterprise Space Seed Edition. And looking at the end of the box, this is kit number POL908M-03. The side of the box, you can see that wonderful model display, of course, from the wonderful studio photos that has the Enterprise with the Botany Bay in tow when she was in a tractor beam. And we got the other end of the box, which is the same, and the other side of the box, which they're both similar. All right, we look at the back of the box, and you can see the model, the finished model. You can see the stand. The way the stand is, it has the little arm that's going to come off and hold the Botany Bay. Now, what I did was I made them in two different models. I made the Botany Bay on its own, and I used the old stand, which is still included in the kit. And I had done the Enterprise from one of the pilot versions, but that was a long time on my channel, and I'd like to think that my modeling skills got a little bit better, so eventually we're going to redo this one as well. You can see the SS Botany Bay. The assembled ship is 4 inches long. And the USS Enterprise, the assembled ship is 11.5 inches long. It includes the dome base with sturdy support rods. Let's see, when was this one issued? This one is 2013 issue. This model kit celebrates the classic Star Trek episode by offering the USS Enterprise along with the SS Botany Bay for the first time. Optional parts are included to build the Enterprise in one of 3 categories. Marking, decals, pictorial, assembly guide, and dome base are all included. That's what's cool about the Polar Lights. They give you all the parts where you can actually make all 3 versions of the Enterprise. You can make the first pilot edition, the second pilot edition, or the production series version. It's really, really amazing. Matter of fact, it's the 1/1000 scale model of the Enterprise that I used when we did the USS Constellation. after the encounter with the planet killer. And that is Polar Lights, and that's from Space Seed. Again, that inspired Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. All right, let's go on to one of the more popular episodes of Star Trek. We're going to go into Space Station K7, and we're going to talk about the trouble with tribbles, and that's what inspired this model kit. Now, this is the collector tin. You can see the boxing that this came in. I don't have the original release of this box, but you can see this has the illustration of the station, and we got the Klingon battlecruiser. And again, we saw the battlecruiser in the episode only after they did it digitally, where they put the models in, the CGI. When they actually had the filming models, we didn't see the Klingon D7 yet. You can see the Enterprise. The kit actually comes with a small Enterprise that orbits the space station. And this is the collector's edition K7 space station, and this one has retro style packaging. And this one includes a bonus tribble. You can see again the space station, United Federation of Planets on the top, K7. And it shows you the features for this model kit. You get that classic Captain Kirk after they open a door and he's buried in tribbles. So we got the features now. It's 15 inches wide with clear parts, decal sheet and base with metal support rod. So this will be really fun to light. And we get that illustration. And this is the K7 station plastic model kit. Now, this is AMT 645. You can see that end of the box. And both ends of the box are the same. As I showed you the features. And we look at this side of the box, and you can see again that picture of Captain Kirk and the round 2 models. Let's see, is there a date? The 2010 release on this one. So this was the trouble with tribbles, and how can you not love tribbles? And we're introduced to Cyrano Jones, and the Federation is trying to get things to grow food on Sherman's planet, the Quattro Triticale, also known as Captain Kirk calls it wheat. And what ends up happening is the tribbles actually get into the supply, and they're killed. They come to learn that the Quattro Triticale is poisoned, and there's a Klingon agent among the United Federation and Planet staff. But one of the more popular episodes of Star Trek. Okay, what do we got now? We've got I think this is an underrated episode. This is a really great writing. This is Polar AMT. And what this one is Tomorrow is Yesterday. This is the F-104 Starfighter. And you can see the bonus, USS Enterprise. Of course, when this episode opens, the Enterprise is in orbit. They're wondering where they are. They're trying to recover. The Enterprise needs to regain altitude. And unbeknownst to them, they actually went into a time warp, and they ended up going back in time to planet Earth. Now, the Enterprise was detectable on the radar of the time. So they launched the F-104. The Air Force did, to go and investigate. So what ends up happening is the Enterprise puts a tractor beam on the aircraft, but the aircraft is so fragile, it just destroys. So they beam the pilot aboard, but now they got a problem, because now the pilot sees the Enterprise and learns about the future. So they need to go and retract all of the film that was shot by the F-104 and all the information. So they have to go in to the base, and they have to recover all that. But in order to make a long story short, they go back in time, and as they progress forward, they beam the captain back to his plane, and everything ends up being okay, and they end up going back through the time loop and back to their own time period. But this is one of the more underrated episodes, I think, because this episode is so great. You know, I wonder if this was an inspiration for Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, where the Enterprise is gone, but Admiral Kirk and the crew have the Klingon bird of prey that they had captured, Commander Kruger's ship. And when they come back to Earth, Earth is under attack by a probe. So what they learn is that they got to go back in time to get the humpback whales. And they end up bringing them back in the Klingon bird of prey. So I wonder if that was inspired by this episode. But this is from AMT. Tomorrow was yesterday. Looking at the side of the box, you can see all the options they have. Now, I've held off on building this model because I want to make the perfect background. I'm trying to figure how I can have like a base, but with the background where you're looking up at the sky, and you can see this in the foreground and the Enterprise in the background. I got to figure out how we can do that. But this will be a really fun build when we get to it. And let's see. This is AMT kit number 953-12. You can see another shot of the beautiful 104. And looking at the other side of the box, you see the Enterprise in the distance, and we have the designation FG-914, fighter plane. And you can see the other end of the box. Looking at the back, you can see some beautiful photographs of the finished model. The miniature USS Enterprise NCC 1701 included for a force perspective display, and that's in 1/2500 scale, because it's supposed to be in the distance. You can see the U.S. Air Force authentic waterslide marking decals, detailed landing gear, and you can see celebrate the 50th anniversary of Star Trek with exciting model kits from AMT. And I've shown you guys that. I have the collector tin of that edition. The first season of Star Trek, the original series, offered encounters with supermen like Khan Noonien Singh, dangerous aliens like the Gorn, but an encounter with a normal man held the greatest risk of wiping a USS Enterprise and her crew from existence. The episode Tomorrow is Yesterday, presented by the first foray into the sci-fi subgenre of time travel, with Enterprise and crew finding themselves in then modern-day 1966. Dedicated by the United States Air Force, an F-104 starfighter, piloted by Captain John Christopher, was sent to intercept. It fell on Captain Kirk and the crew to erase all evidence of their own appearance and return Captain Christopher back to his duties without any recollection of the encounter. The detailed 104 Starfighter model kit comes with multiple arrangement options and includes screen-accurate marking decals. The included small-scale USS Enterprise is perfect for use for creating that force perspective diorama. All marking decals and display base are included for the Enterprise model as well. Illustrated assembly instructions assist in the building of this kit. Tomorrow is Yesterday, and this was 2016 release. And again, that's a wonderful episode. And this model is going to be really fun. You can see the color of the Air Force, the fighter. So I'm looking forward to doing this. But again, we got to work on a display. Okay, what's next? I think this is the last one that I have for the original series. And we're going to go to the Tholian Web. And this is Star Trek AMT. And again, this is the classic tooling of the USS Enterprise from 1966. And back in 1966, the release was the long box, but it was vertical. And they had an illustration very similar to this. And you can see it's got the Tholian ship where they're starting to make the web. We were introduced to the USS, not the Constellation, the USS Defiant, excuse me. And she's phasing in and out of the space because there's a rift in the area. The Enterprise is exposed, and the effects of the space start well, driving the crew insane, just the uncontrollable rage. They do end up getting out of it, but Captain Kirk is lost with the Defiant when she phases out. But Captain Kirk ends up being retrieved. The Defiant, and this is a whole other video, but the Defiant goes into another, it actually goes into another show. Star Trek Enterprise, we see the Defiant. The Captain Archer ends up getting them in the alternate reality of the Federation. Anyway, that's a whole different video and a whole different model, but this is as seen in the Tholian web. You can see the beautiful illustration, and what's great about this model is it glows in the dark. Again, I did this model kit, and my modeling skills were, well, weren't as good as they are now, hopefully. And I had done that build, and it just came out really, well, very unspectacular. I was new to the lighting, so I used the battery pack with the lights, and it just, I'm not very happy with it. So again, we're going to redo that kit, and I want to make it look really, really spectacular. So let's look at the side of the box. You can see the Tholian ship, the spinner. You can see glow-in-the-dark plastic. Bonus, Tholian web spinners, and it has a background as well. You can see the Star Trek spinner. The Tholian web. While exploring uncharted space, the USS Enterprise is ordered to investigate the disappearance of her sister ship, the USS Defiant. The Enterprise crew finds the area as being affected by a strange space anomaly which gradually incapacitates the ship as well as the crew. Though no sensors detect the presence of the Defiant and crew members, they can clearly see it glowing eerily on their view screen. Captain Kirk soon beams over to investigate to find the Defiant's crew to be mysteriously dead. As the ship fades in and out of view, Captain Kirk is unable to be returned to the Enterprise. While waiting for the Defiant to reappear, the Enterprise is commanded to leave the area by an enigmatic Tholians. The attack on the Tholian ship completely drains the Enterprise of its ability to fight or move, and the Tholians respond by trapping the Enterprise inside an energy field. It ultimately takes all the crew of the Enterprise cunning and skill to rescue Captain Kirk and escape the Tholian web. And this is a 2011 release. And looking at the end of the box, this is AMT 695. Kit AMT 695. The Tholian web, that beautiful illustration, and it's the same on both ends of the box. And the other side of the box, we have the features and we have photos from that awesome episode. There's a Tholian right there. Features, the decals to decorate the USS Enterprise or the USS Defiant, glow in the dark plastic, bonus Tholian web spinners, and a Tholian web backdrop. And that looks really cool. And I love the back, the photo on the back. You can see the ship. This is the Defiant NCC 1764. You can see the spinners. They also glow in the dark. Or you can do the Enterprise. Star Trek the original series presented numerous classic episodes. Among them, the Tholian web featured all of the qualities found in the very best science fiction stories. Great characterization, dramatic moments, and imminent danger, mysterious villains, and all high concepts. All elements executed so perfectly it warrants special recognition in the pantheon of science fiction storytelling. With this commemorative edition of the classic USS Enterprise model kit, AMT acknowledges the phenomenal work of the classic science fiction. This edition of the classic ship celebrates the fan-favorite episode by presenting kit parts in glow-in-the-dark plastic to simulate the look of the USS Defiant, as seen in the episode. Included for the first time ever are 2 Tholian web spinner ships. Also included are assembly instructions and decal sheet featuring options to decorate as one of 13 different ships. You can see some of the reissues by Polar Lights. And let's see, that release date, this would be 1912. Sorry, I'm thinking of the Titanic. 2012, not 1912. You can see that beautiful picture of the ship. Love it. And that is from the Tholian web. Let's see. I think that's it for the ones that I have anyway, for the original series model kits. We're going to move over real quick to Star Trek The Next Generation, because I do have one model that's inspired from Star Trek The Next Generation, and this is one of my favorite episodes. We're going to look at the NCC 1701-C, and this one has the new battle damage decals. And this is from, of course, the episode Yesterday's Enterprise. This is in 1/1400 scale, and this is the NCC 1701-C. And she's an ambassador class. The Enterprise is investigating an anomaly, and as soon as the ship appears, you can see the Enterprise crew goes to a more dark, sinister lighting on the bridge. Their uniforms change slightly, and they're all armed, and that's just a fantastic episode. That's one of the best Star Trek The Next Generation episodes, in my opinion, and I absolutely love the Enterprise C. Matter of fact, we don't see enough of this ship. I love the color scheme, I love the shape, and I wish we'd see more. But I was ecstatic to get this model when it came out because it's got the battle damage. I've come a long way with the paint gun, so I would be able to put the damage on that way, but this one does have the option of giving you the decals. The side of the box, you can see the same illustration, and this is AMT. And looking at the end of the box, let's see, this is the vertical side. All right, there's no kit number. Let's see, what about the other side? Same illustration, but there's no kit number. And I think both sides of the box, yep, they're the same. So looking at the back, let's see. This is AMT 721-06, and this was released in 2011. You can see the beautiful Enterprise C and what she really went through. You can see this build is going to end in 15 inches, so she's 15 inches long when she's made. Build your kit as pristine ship or use the new battle damage decals, which have been authentically styled for the screen. Sturdy chrome base rod. So we got that base, and you can see some round 2 models, collector models, small artworks. Here's the one that built the model. Captain James T. Kirk commanded the Starfleet flagship USS Enterprise 1701, Enterprise NCC 1701 refit, and the Enterprise 1701A. The Enterprise 1701B carried Kirk on his final voyage. On his final voyage. And generations later, the USS Enterprise D was captained famously by Jean-Luc Picard. But what was the fate of the USS Enterprise NCC 1701C? In Star Trek The Next Generation episode Yesterday's Enterprise, the Enterprise D encountered a ghost from its own past, as the USS Enterprise C was found adrift in space after being lost for 22 years earlier. A disruption in the time continuum had ripped the Enterprise C out of the thick of the battle and thrust it into the future, causing a whirlwind of timeline changes. Changes that would leave the Federation hovering on the brink of destruction in an all-out war with the Klingon Empire. Despite having sustained heavy damage in its warp field nacelles, the hull-bearing struts, and internal space frame, life signs were found aboard the vessel. In order to restore the space-time, the Enterprise C and her crew would have to return through the rift and doom themselves to the losing battle. With time stabilized and the peace returned between the Federation and the Klingon Empire, the Enterprise C was forever etched into Star Trek lore, ensuring that history never forgets the name Enterprise. This detailed 1/1400 scale glue-together model kit is molded in light gray and clear plastic and builds to a full size of 14 3/4 inches. The kit includes new battle damage decals used from the original filming model, optional parts and registry decals to create either the USS Enterprise C or the USS Yamaguchi, along with detailed assembly instructions. This kit includes a display stand, a sturdy dome base, and a metal support rod to display the finished model. The USS Yamaguchi. All right, that reminds me. In addition to this one, this is the battle-damaged USS Enterprise NCC-1701C, but I had realized I also have the USS Yamaguchi. Now, this was seen in Star Trek The Next Generation. And this is the Pro Shop from AMT Ertl. And this is the lighted version of the Yamaguchi Star Trek. And you can see a beautiful picture of the Yamaguchi. Again, I apologize for the glare. And let's see, this is kit number 30038. The Pro Shop. And looking at the side of the box, the scale and measured model from actual Paramount blueprints includes decals for the USS Excalibur, lighted portholes, and warp nacelles. It says wrap nacelles, but they mean warp nacelles. And let's see what's on the other side of the box. You can see photos of the finished model. And this model is in clear plastic. So I want to be doing a video on this one to show you guys more about this model soon, but I'm looking for the instruction sheet. All right, this is kit, again, kit number 30038, and this was the Yamaguchi. And again, the Yamaguchi was introduced during Star Trek The Next Generation. I had completely forgot about this, but while doing the Enterprise C, which is, incidentally, this is the same mold. So this was molded in clear plastic. And I've done the fiber optic Enterprise D for you guys, and it's got kind of like a box of a power supply, and it has, I think it was 4 of the C batteries. And this has the same thing, same kind of power unit for that. And this is from the same mold. This one is a lot more recent. This one, let's see, I think I had told you guys, I already forgot. This is from 2011, and this one is from the 90s. Let's see if I can get the actual date for this one. The Ertl Company, this is from 1999. But again, this is the same tooling. So this, as far as I know, is the last model that I have inspired from episodes from Star Trek. I don't offhand, when it comes to Deep Space Nine, I do have the fiber optic space station, but that one wasn't inspired specifically from a video. Incidentally, I showed you guys, let's see, where did I put it? Here it is. I showed you guys the Defiant. And speaking of Deep Space Nine, the Defiant that Captain Sisko has at his disposal that's attached to the space station was named in honor of this USS Defiant. So my friends, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's kind of fun to go through them and see what episodes inspired these model kits. I just love these models. I love Star Trek. And I hope you enjoy watching my videos as much as I enjoy making them. So my friends, until the next video, I thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the kind words. And I'll talk to you soon. Live long and prosper.